Plus, you'll have access to CHM's care solutions for virtual appointments, prescription savings, surgery support, and more. My family and I joined in 2018, and it's changed our lives for the better. We love paying way less while helping other believers afford their medical bills. Take the leap of faith and see why Christians across the nation are better with CHM.
Get started by calling 1-833-JOIN-CHM and use promo code WELLNESS for a 50% credit towards your first month. That's 1-833-JOIN-CHM and use promo code WELLNESS.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. More nice weather for the weekend, if anything, getting less humid and more comfortable. Overnight tonight, slight chance for a spot storm, mainly northeast of St. Louis. Most of us are dry, low of 71 degrees. A high of 87, that's near normal hot for the afternoon, but humidity will be falling throughout the day, so expect it to feel a little more comfortable. But it is toasty warm in the full sunshine, a mostly sunny day Saturday. Sunday, a little cooler, but still a warm day, 83. Mostly sunny to start, then turning partly cloudy, but low humidity, making it a great Sunday. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Window World of St. Louis. For replacement windows, doors, and siding, call 800-GET-WINDOWS. That's 800-GET-WINDOWS.
Hey, it's Columbo reminding you that when the fish are biting, gear up with the best at Bluff City Outdoors. They have a huge selection of all the gear you need for your next trip on the water, including great products from all the top brands in the industry like Mega Bass, Mad Cats, Penn, and more. Plus, join us every Saturday at 11 a.m. on the Bluff City Outdoors show for great conversation and the local fishing report. Open 7 days a week, 1 mile east of Fast Eddie's at 2813 East Broadway in Alton. Follow them on Facebook and at BluffCityOutdoors.com.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Very active, very fun chat box. Cinderfer.
Hi, Cinderfer.
Hey, how you doing? She says, yo, Vic, baby. Verbatim, yo, Vic, baby. With an exclamation point. How else are you supposed to read that? I was driving, had to pull over to comment. I was going to say how sexy the beard is, but I'm afraid of your wife.
I'll tell you what, I would be.
Vic Porcelli, live and local, weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL. Free speech is alive and well in America.
Thanks for taking my call.
Right here.
You know what's going on?
Have our great awakening.
You see through the smoke screen.
It's cool to be woke.
News Talk STL.
Until it's not.
News, analysis, opinion. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
The more you remove voting from Election Day, the more opportunity you're offering for people to commit fraud.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
I think the Democrats are so short-sighted in this tactic they have now. They just cheat at any cost to win elections.
Nobody stands up. These people are crazy. I'm telling you, they're crazy.
What are we doing wrong here?
As a former leader in the House, I think you can put your finger on it. It's called leadership. We don't have it.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
Scott, congratulations on a really good round. How do you explain this trend where you do start off not as well and then you just come back like you do today?
I mean, I don't really know. Yeah, yesterday I didn't go off to the start I wanted to. I mean, I wasn't feeling 100% yesterday. Still not feeling 100% today. So I'll go home and get some rest. Yeah, I'll be, ways back, but like you said, I'm not out of it by any means. So, see what I can go out, see what I can do going out early tomorrow.
Well, Chris, wouldn't you love to have an off day and shoot 6 under at Belle Reve from the tips with the pros? Scotty Scheffler there had a really rough outing yesterday. He did not play well, but he came roaring back today with a 6 under performance that puts him, I think, only 7 back from the leader. Never count the world's number 1 out, whether it was Tiger Woods a decade or so ago or now Scotty Scheffler. A lot of the big names doing well. And I've got a place in my heart for a guy. I don't know if you've heard of a guy named Gary Woodland. I love these human interest stories. Gary Woodland, journeyman golfer. He's had a breakout couple years, last year or so. He's over the age of 40, so hope for us older guys. Yes. And, Chris, he's been battling some mental health issues. And he's a huge, you always see like folds of honor and stuff on his bag and stuff. So he's a big supporter of the military. And he's had a great year this year. and he is in the mix near the top of the leaderboard. So last thing I heard was, Chris, I heard one of the commentators, one of the national commentators on the Golf Channel today saying, man, there's the crowds at Belle Reve here in St. Louis. They're 10 deep. I haven't seen galleries this big all year. St. Louis sports fans once again delivering.
You know, speaking of Scheffler, I think they call it in sports the zone, and he definitely seems to be in the zone. And St. Louis is one of the most underrated sports towns in America. You look how we came out for the Rams when they were in their heyday. You look at the Cardinals. Year after year, we're having 3 million fans come to the stadium in a smaller market team. You know, you look at the St. Louis Hawks. You know, the spring football league. How the fans, we have the most fans that come out to the games. They're very excited. St. Louis is a very underrated sports town. And I remember a few years ago there was a Sports Illustrated article. And I think St. Louis was on the front cover talking about that. They did a survey or something and said St. Louis has the best sports fans. We kind of get underrated because we've lost the Rams and we lost the Cardinals, but you can't blame us. Those two teams sucked for a very long time, especially the Cardinals. The Rams checked out their last 5 or 6 years. They intentionally put a bad team on the field to give them, the reason to leave and go to Los Angeles. But St. Louis is known for sports. We root for the underdog. Look what happened, 2019 with the Blues, how this town went crazy over that. St. Louis loves its sports.
Big hockey town. And look, even though we lost the football Cardinals, and that we seem to have a problem with the NFL. But
we have bad owners.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what it is more than anything.
We were unlucky twice.
Yeah.
I mean, with what fate handed us. But if you look at what we have now in St. Louis, we have the second winningest Major League Baseball franchise in baseball history with the St. Louis Cardinals. We have an incredible hockey franchise. The Blues, I feel like, should have won more Stanley Cups by now, but at least they've won it, and they're very competitive.
I mean, they went to the playoffs, like 28 years in a row or something like that?
All the time. We have it's not my jam, but we have a soccer.
Yeah.
We have a beautiful soccer facility. We have the St. Louis City Soccer. And we've got very good fans that support that. And we have the Battlehawks,
And St. Louis is known as a soccer town. A lot of soccer players came out of this town. And to give you another note that shows you what a big sports town St. Louis. Look at the NCAA tournament that just passed. Look at the support for SLU.
Sellout crowds. Yeah, we have SLU basketball. We often get the NCAA Final Four. So, yeah, I mean, I'm fixated on golf this weekend. I'm a big golf guy, but I think in general, St. Louis always, despite all of our problems and all of our issues, and we still have plenty of them, St. Louis fans, people show up for these major sporting events. So this is noted, right? Like, so for instance, if they hadn't sold out these tournament days, if there wasn't big crowds, if there was that would be the story. Well, everybody's going, wow, this is a beautiful town, and look at this venue, and look at all these fans, and everyone's so polite, and everyone and St. Louis sports fans know their stuff too, right? The golf fans at Belle Reve know exactly what they're watching and know all the players and know all the stats. Same thing with the baseball fans in town and the hockey fans and the football fans and so on and so forth. So it's really good that St. Louis does this. And I just got tickled last night when I turned on the Golf Channel when I got home last night, and they're showing the reruns.
Yeah.
And then they'll show a picture of the arch and the riverfront, and the commentators go, look at that. Man, that arch, that's really cool. Gateway to the West. And it's like, okay, we've been a really proud city. We have lots of awesome history. St. Louis can be great again. It can.
And I was going to ask you, was this tournament being broadcast, and will it be Saturday and Sunday on NBC?
Yes, so it has been on ESPN Plus the last 2 days. They've had multiple feeds running. So they have a main feed, and then they have 2 separate channels where they're tracking the leaders. So they've been on 3 ESPN channels. Over the weekend, I am not exactly sure. I'll have to look that up quickly. But I don't know if this is an NBC production or not.
I feel like I've seen it on NBC when they have the BMW.
But was Jim Nantz doing it last week in Memphis? So maybe CBS.
Okay.
So, yeah. But anyway, that's the last golf clip we'll be playing because the tournament will be over on Sunday. And then the FedEx Cup, the final. So, Chris, whoever ends up in the stand, not the top 30 golfers from this tournament necessarily, but they have this point system, So it's the top 30 point getters after the BMW, they go to Eastlake next weekend down in Georgia. It's a suburb at the edge of Atlanta, Eastlake. It's where Bobby Jones used to play golf when he was growing up. And that is where they will have the FedEx Cup, the Tour Championship, and it'll be only the 30 top golfers in the world after this tournament this week.
And am I remembering this correctly? Was the senior PGA championship here in Missouri, St. Louis, a few years ago?
Your memory is
at
very
Belle
good.
Reve? Yeah.
It used to be, it was at Belle Reve, and they used to have a senior event out at Boone Valley, out in Defiance, years ago. And I think they had one before that at Cherry Hills when it still existed. So, St. Louis, it seems like every 8 to 10 years, we continue to obtain a major PGA championship. I know there's a lot of mid-ams here. There's a lot of amateur, a lot of pro-am events. I know the ladies, the LPGA, I think, plays here every so often. So it's a really, it's a great, accessible golf town. There's a lot of great courses here with a lot of great history. And so I hope the next 2 days are as good as the first 2 days were. And if you're going out to the tournament, I hope you have a great time. I'm going to be heading out there on Sunday. My neighbor had an extra day pass, and we're just going to walk the grounds and see who we can see and enjoy the weather, which is supposed to be delightful this weekend.
Remember the story that I did yesterday on Chris's Corner regarding the fake polls and the anonymous person that did it as a social experiment? Well, that person has been determined, Tim. His name is Raheel Pakesh. He's a 21-year-old college graduate, and he said he deployed AI to make the site and wanted to test how quickly the fake poll could spread. Again, he called it a short-term social experiment. So how does a 21-year-old college kid makes up a fake polling site get all of the major networks to bite on these dubious polls?
Tell you what, the kids these days are brilliant, and you just hope that they start using their powers for good and not evil, right? Chris, the BMW is on CBS this weekend. You can watch it from 2 to 5 p.m. on Saturday, and you can watch 4 hours of coverage on Sunday from 1 to 5 p.m. So there you go.
Excellent.
There you go.
Excellent.
Yeah, these brainiacs, it's like, okay, well, on one hand, it gives me hope for the future, except for I hope that they, like I said, use their skills for good and not evil. But it's amazing, isn't it?
It is.
Especially if they're deploying AI. I mean, if you're a young, bright computer science brainiac these days, Einstein, and you know how to use AI as well, I'm not sure there's much that can stop you.
Exactly.
It could be dangerous.
Another story today, Tim, that I think will pique your interest, and I'd love to get your thoughts on it. The Education Department is taking the first step toward removing the ABA's authority to accredit law schools. Is this something that should have been done decades ago?
Yeah, don't make a note to ask Zach Smith about this next Wednesday.
I was going to ask him about it.
And he will be happy to go on a tirade for you about how the ABA's grip on law schools should have been loosened and removed a long time ago. The ABA, Chris, unfortunately, you think American Bar Association, shouldn't that be? They should be above politics, right?
Not.
They should be the creme de la creme. I hate to tell you, they're just as woke as Dr. Bob Onder would tell us at 425. They're just as woke as the American Medical Association. All these big groups, I don't know why they feel like they had to, but they've largely sold out to the lunatic left.
Yeah.
And the ABA, nope, no exception.
I think they're pretty much leftists anyway, and so they graduate from these law schools, which are leftists, and so they say, hey, we have like minds when it comes to our political philosophy. Why don't you just have us accredit your schools? And they say, okay. Which this also reminds me of this thing, too, that we've talked about here in Missouri, the Missouri Plan, where the Missouri Bar gives the governor 3 choices that they choose, to be judges. That's just the craziest system I ever heard in my life. The lawyers are like picking their judges.
And they say, well, there's citizens on these panels too. Yeah, guess Chris, do you want to take a guess how many citizens there are versus how many judges and lawyers there are? Guess what? The citizens are outnumbered by the judges and lawyers. It's like on the larger panels, when you're picking the appellate judges and Supreme Court judges, it's 4 versus 3.
Yeah.
So if you ever have a disagreement and you want to have a vote, guess what? The non-lawyers are going to lose. And people say, well, it's good to have the lawyers helping choose the lawyers because they know blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But you know what? who has to appear? My argument back to that, as a lawyer, is to push back on that and say, yeah, but the people are the ones who are largely appearing in front of these judges by a lot, right? Not a lot of lawyers are going to be going before them as parties, right? Maybe in a random case every once in a while, but 99% of the time it's going to be Joe and Jane Citizen. And look, maybe we should educate Joe and Jane Citizen a little bit more about lawyers and judges and the judicial system. But to be so arrogant and say, well, only lawyers and judges should pick lawyers and judges. Well, like what you said, they're picking the people they want to appear in front of.
And it's just crazy, too, because the governor only has these 3 choices to choose from. Governor can't say, well, you know what? I really don't like these 3 choices. I'm going to go outside of your recommendation, and I'm going to appoint someone who I think is qualified. He has to choose from those 3. That's just nuts to me.
There is a movement across the country. A lot of states have the Missouri plan, a version of it, like 20-some-odd states. Most people are pretty unhappy with it, especially those on the center-right side of the political spectrum. And there's a movement to start looking at changing that. The problem is you're never going to just adjust the Missouri plan because that'll always get voted down because it'll be too complicated to explain in a 50-word ballot summary. You're either going to have to go to the full election of judges, which a lot of people have trepidation about, I understand, or you go to the federal system, right? That's the other system that lay people completely understand is, in our case, it would be the governor. The governor would select someone, and then they would have to go through rigorous Senate confirmation. So that seems to be a better system. The Missouri plan was put into place many, many decades ago to deal with corruption in the judiciary. Well, Chris, as you know, you leave something created by the government alone long enough, and it becomes corrupt and it becomes in need of reform. You can't just leave these things and then never adjust them and never pay attention to them. I think it's time for the Missouri plan to be reformed.
And the next step from taking accreditation from the ABA, the Education Department makes a recommendation to a panel that reviews the accreditors, Tim, and then he makes a recommendation to the Undersecretary of Education, and he makes the final declaration. Now, we've got 2 years left in the Trump administration. What would you give the odds that the ABA loses that authority?
Trump's going to push and pull. I don't know. The bar will fight that tooth and nail. They'll try to run the clock out, but maybe it'll change. It would be nice. Donald Trump has broken a lot of things in a good way, and I hope he breaks this as well. Exactly. I've got a big day today because I am remembering in the first segment here that it is my wife's birthday.
Hey,
so
how old is she? No,
she's 29 years old.
There you go.
Suzanne, love you very much. Your whole family loves you. You gave us beautiful daughters, and you keep an excellent home. And she's also a working woman, and she does it all.
And she's married to Tim Jones, so we have to give her a lot of credit.
Good Lord, she's put up with me for, I'm horrible with numbers. She's put up with me for 24 years. So, she is a saint. She's a living saint, and I love her very much, and I want to wish her a very happy birthday. I'll be leaving one segment early, Chris, because we're going on to a little...
You're going to miss the movie segment?
I'll listen to it on the way home. I'll listen like a listener.
I need you to chime in because you follow popular culture
I know,
movies
I do.
a lot closer than I do.
Maybe I can help here in a second. Joey, what are we watching today? I'll give a few comments along the way today.
We're watching a dinosaur movie. Ever seen one?
I have.
All right, well, there's another one. This is the end of Oak Street. Family's whole neighborhood gets sucked up and transported back to prehistoric times.
Is it a vortex?
I don't want to give it away just
yet.
Vortex? It's probably a straw.
I just wanted to use that.
You sounded really smart. So
Joey,
545, text in your questions, Tim.
Joey, is it anything like, is there any comparison at all? When you said, horror movie, dinosaurs, blah, 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 I thought of Cloverfield. Remember Cloverfield?
Exact same producer as the director.
There we go.
J.J. Abrams, who made the Cloverfield movie. Yeah.
That's why I need you here at 545. You know that type of
Well,
stuff.
you never see, in Cloverfield, you never really see, it was like a Godzilla type of dinosaur, right, in Cloverfield, or was it Godzilla?
It was a kaiju, one of them underwater sea monsters.
But you never see him.
You see a little bit of him.
A little bit.
They made an action figure of him. He's pretty ugly. That's probably why they didn't want to show him. Kids would be puking in the aisles.
Joey's got a great movie at 5:45, the end of Oak Street. Before that, though, we're going to get to Congressman Dr. Bob Onder at 4:25. Chris, what's up in the corner today?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about this earlier in the week about AOC trying to run away from Woke One. Well, she can't, Tim, because I've got the receipts, and I'm bringing them at 4:45.
Sometimes, we've been doing this show together way too long without speaking today. My speaker stump speech is, they just cannot outrun the woke.
Yes.
So this happens often where Chris has a topic, and then I kind of have a segue off of that. So we'll just tell Jeff Allen that we planned it all out that way. So we'll be talking a lot of AOC, Woke 1.0, 2.0 in both Chris's Corner and the Speaker's Stump Speech today. We have Nicole Huyer, Senior Research Associate of Economics at the Heritage Foundation. Doing a lot of economics this week because there's a lot to talk about. Capitalism, the system that Gen Z loves to roast but actually needs the most, versus the rise of socialism in America.
That rhymed.
Yeah, there we go. So Nicole Huyer. And at 5:45, Joey V's Movies, the segment that everyone, well, at the very least, Joey's girlfriend, Joey's gal. What do you call her, your woman? She's your woman?
She's my hetero life mate. Wait, I don't know. I just call her Erica if that's okay.
She's listening, so he's more
Tim,
careful now.
I learned last week, did you know, we all know that she sings the theme for Joey's Movies. Did you know that she does the promos for the advertisers? That's her voice, too?
I didn't know that.
I learned that last week.
I think there's a career there. I hope she's getting paid top dollar for these.
Of course, yeah. I use real human beings in all of my commercials, just so everyone knows.
Okay. We'll just leave that right
Had
there.
no idea.
So we've got a jam-packed show for you here today. We're going to talk to Dr. Bob Onder next. They're on recess, but there's still a lot going on in the federal political public policy world. We're going to talk about how things look coming up here towards Election Day. Chris's Corner, the Speaker's Stump Speech, Nicole Huyer on what is up with Gen Z of socialism versus capitalism, Joey V's Movies, and more. It's a great, fantastic Friday of a show. We'll be back with the good congressman next on the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. 101.9, 94.1, News Talk STL.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. More nice weather for the weekend, if anything, getting less humid and more comfortable. Overnight tonight, slight chance for a spot storm, mainly northeast of St. Louis. Most of us are dry, low of 71 degrees. A high of 87, that's near normal hot for the afternoon, but humidity will be falling throughout the day, so expect it to feel a little more comfortable. But it is toasty warm in the full sunshine, a mostly sunny day Saturday. Sunday, a little cooler, but still a warm day, 83. Mostly sunny to start, then turning partly cloudy, but low humidity, making it a great Sunday. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
News, analysis, opinion.
We offer freedom, they offer socialism. When you got the DSA and people out there advocating openly for those types of policies, I think American people are going to say a big fat no to that.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
No joke. I literally was on the phone with Comprehensive Chiropractic on the way to the studio today. I had to reset an appointment. I had a conflict come up next week. They're such lovely people there. They gave me a holler back right away. And it's not just because of me. I mean, I've been a patient there for like 20 years, so you develop a good affinity. But of course, we also advertise for them. But this is how they treat all of their patients and clients. They're wonderful people at Comprehensive Chiropractic. They're online at cchiropractic.com. This is a one-stop shop for all of your musculoskeletal, stay in shape, body performance type of shop, right? So they do everything from baseline foundational chiropractic care, which has really advanced, by the way. I mean, I've been a patient of Dr. Fader's for, like I said, almost 20 years. And I can tell you from personal experience that they're doing a lot of different new, really cool things now that they weren't back then, right? Because just like with any kind of medical discipline, you're always advancing, you're always learning new things, you're always learning new treatments. I had a horrible tendonitis kind of deal in my elbow a year or two ago, and they cleaned that up lickety-split. It was absolutely fantastic. It's so wonderful to be able to address these issues and to avoid surgery. Sometimes you can't avoid surgery, right? Sometimes there's a super really bad, horrible injury, and it just has to be done. But Comprehensive Chiropractic is going to try to treat things conservatively first to see if they can get you back up on your feet without having to go to such drastic measures. And they've got all the doctors and all the practitioners to help you do that. They can also get you in shape upstairs at the studio. It's a beautiful facility, big giant skylights, Pilates and yoga classes, and more. They have licensed massage therapists. They have supplemental experts as well. So they got tons of supplements there, but they're not just going to throw a bunch of pills at you. They're going to explain to you, what these supplements are. They're going to try to find out what you need, what you might be lacking. I had them help me with some magnesium deficiency, and that I've corrected that, and that's been fantastic as well. So I'm here to tell you, proof positive. Not only me, but all my family members, many of my friends, They've all used Comprehensive Chiropractic and with great results. They're online 24/7 at cchiropractic.com. That's cchiropractic.com. Comprehensive Chiropractic for all your comprehensive healthcare needs.
License number GL250000615.
You're cooking dinner. The lights go out. You flip the breaker and forget about it.
But what if it keeps tripping?
Trips once, your breaker's doing its job. Keeps tripping? That's a warning. Bad wiring or something worse.
Do people just keep flipping it?
Most do, until they can't anymore.
Call Grasser. We'll stop the trip.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeservices.com.
Tired of big corporate repair shops? J&J Auto and Tire is family owned and St. Louis proud. 16 years of honest answers, even when it's not what you want to hear. Digital inspections sent straight to your phone, videos and photos of exactly what we found. No guesswork, no pressure, just a trained service advisor helping you make the right call. Contactless drop-off, loyalty rewards, fleets welcome. All backed by a 2-year, 24,000-mile warranty. J&J Auto and Tire on Page and Overland. Honest repairs, real people. Book today. JamandJAuto.com.
Your trees do a lot for you. Shade, beauty, curb appeal, but are they safe? Clever Tree Service has been protecting St. Louis homes and landscapes for over 20 years. Pruning, trimming, removal, stump grinding, even 24/7 emergency storm service. Fully insured, eco-friendly, and always focused on you. From Kirkwood to Chesterfield, Webster Groves to Wildwood, your neighbors trust Clever Tree Service. Visit clevertreeservice.com for your free quote today.
1949, the last time a Republican held the top post in St. Louis City. A gallon of milk was 84 cents and streetcars ran down Grand Avenue. Unfortunately, St. Louis city streets are no longer the epicenter of family and business life. In the 80 years of Democrat control, our city has been on a steady decline.
Hello, Kirk Ilsinger, chairman of the Republican Party for the city of St. Louis, and we believe it is our duty to provide a different path forward. I invite you to our meetings the first Thursday of every month. Learn more at stl-gop.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
This hour of Jones and Arps is brought to you by Stifel. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. You're listening to Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
Democrat Aisha Wahab has won the election to U.S. House in California's 14th congressional district. Aisha Wahab, a progressive Democratic state senator, defeated Melissa Hernandez, a moderate Democrat, in a special election to replace Eric Swalwell. Mr. Swalwell, of course, abruptly resigned in April amid accusations of sexual misconduct.
Dr. Bob Onder, congressman for Missouri's 3rd District.
We're calling Dr. Bob. We're calling Dr. Bob. Dr. Bob.
Congressman, how are you this fine afternoon? Are you enjoying your recess?
I am, Chris. It's great to be back in Missouri.
Great to have you. You know, Senator, I got to tell you, I promoted you again. Congressman, I'm a little worried, look, that Republicans may become complacent because the Democrats are nominating all of these super left-wing socialists. We've seen a lot more energy when it comes to the primaries on the Democratic side. The Cook Political Report has shifted Senate races in Texas and Iowa from leaning Republican to toss-ups, and they've also done that in the governor's races in Iowa as well. How concerned are you about, even though history is against Republicans when it comes to keeping control of the House, how worried are you that the Democrats may have a great year even though they're nominating all these lunatics?
Well, yeah, Chris, it's great to be back, and I have some concern because there is a lot of energy on the Democrat side, Trump derangement syndrome energy. We are the party in power, so they're motivated to do something about that. And there's a lot of energy among these Democrat socialists who would have the government run grocery stores that would have us defund Israel, would subsidize gender transition of kids and abortion in all 9 months of pregnancy. There's a lot of energy on that side. But by the same token, these crazy radical leftists that are winning more and more Democrat primaries, they are not where the American people are. The Democrats continually find themselves on the 10 or 20% side of 80-20 issues. They believe in open borders. They want to do nothing about the massive Medicaid and other fraud in places like Minnesota. They want to transition kids to different genders. The Democrats have become so out of touch with the American people, independents and Republicans, that I think we're going to have a good night in November. But there's no question we're not taking anything for granted. We are getting our message out. We're working hard. We're raising a lot of money, for the first time ever, raising more money than the Democrats for these congressional races. And I think we are going to have a good night.
Yeah, Bob. If we had an actual curious press that was interested in not just bashing Republicans and conservatives every single day, but was actually interested in what is going on in both parties, wouldn't we hear more about this actual civil war? I mean, Bob, we have AOC, who was just 3 or 4 years ago the darling of the far liberal left, is now being called not woke enough by the Democratic Socialists of America. You've got old school Democrats like John Fetterman saying he doesn't recognize the party anymore. I wonder when he's going to switch teams. They've got a lot. The Republicans, sure, we can talk about our dirty laundry all day long, but the Democrats are having a massive civil war about the very future of their party, aren't they?
Well, that's right, Tim. We are, we Republicans have been a Big Tent party for a long time. I mean, we, have everything from Rand Paul, Tom Massey, Barry Goldwater, libertarians, all the way to in the U.S. House, they call themselves the Main Street Caucus, who are, more moderate, more accepting of corporate welfare and so on. We are a Big Tent party, have been for a long time. What we're not are lunatics. And, on the Democrat side of the aisle, more and more radical positions become the norm by the day. Remember, Bill Clinton used to say that he was personally pro-life, but that abortion ought to be safe, legal, and rare. Now we have Massachusetts legalizing abortion in all 9 months of pregnancy, including until birth, and subsidizing it. 20 minutes ago, we all accepted that there were two genders, male and female, and now Democrats think there are about 40 genders, and their nominee for the U.S. Senate in Texas, James Tallarico, thinks that God is non-binary. It's no longer, defund the police, government-run grocery stores, government-run healthcare. No, this isn't your grandparents or even your parents or 5 minutes ago's Democrat Party. They just get more and more wacky left almost by the day, it seems.
Speaking with Dr. Bob Onder, Congressman for Missouri's 3rd District. Congressman, this week the United States government reported that its national debt is $40 trillion. That's a number I can't even get my head around. Yeah. I want to ask you basically, whose fault is this? It's taken many, many years for this debt to get to this type of level. People that are listening to this show, the citizens are blaming Congress. They're blaming the president. How could this situation have gotten to this point? Past presidents, just since President Trump was elected, $3 trillion was added to the national debt since 2024. How do we address this situation and try to get it under control?
So we have a massive debt because very few policymakers in Washington, D.C. are willing to say no to anything. And at the state level, we have the same problem. Red states, including Missouri, have expanded Medicaid under Obamacare. And then the year after I left the Missouri Senate, I stopped this while I was in the Missouri Senate. We had Biden care Medicaid expansion. About a month before I was sworn in, there was some expansion of Social Security benefits, but for a certain class of individuals, and I won't get into the details. But that lessened the solvency of the Social Security Trust Fund by 9 months. That action alone. Of course, massive amounts of spending was perpetrated in the name of fighting COVID. Now I know Joe Biden's been out of office a few years, but that massive overspending resulted in higher interest rates, which increases the interest rate we have to pay on the debt. And right now, interest on the debt is the number one driver of growth of our budget. Interest on the debt is a higher number than the U.S. military, for instance. So there's a lot of blame to go around. I fear that far too few of my colleagues in Washington, D.C. have any kind of appetite for cutting spending.
And Bob, a lot of people always say, well, where are we going to start? What are we going to cut? And I think your response is probably, how about everything, right? And Bob, a perfect example of what I'm talking about is a related story in that Medicaid, we found out this week, thankfully, Medicaid will no longer fund gender transition surgery. So, Bob, Medicaid, right, like with a lot of government programs, when Medicaid was first begun, its purpose was to be a social safety net for those who truly need it, right? A very narrow class of people that could not otherwise get health care, so the government's going to take care of them. Well, Bob, here's a perfect example of the waste, fraud, and abuse. A few decades later, now we're funding gender transition surgeries through Medicaid.
Well, we sure are, and and we're funding, except for the 1 year after the big beautiful bill was passed in the summer of 2025. We were funding Planned Parenthood, the largest provider of abortion, the largest provider of gender denying care in children. We are wasting money on so many things, and for instance, the continuing resolution passed by the U.S. Senate right before August recess. It ends Trump administration policy to block federal grants to DEI and gender ideology programs. That was passed by the U.S. Senate. And those are relatively small ticket items compared to some of the big things. But Leah, as you said, Medicaid was intended for poor people. Likewise, food stamps, SNAP was intended for poor people. So you would think, okay, during a recession, the Medicaid and other economic crises, the Medicaid and SNAP rolls will increase. Well, they did under COVID. We are still not back down to pre-COVID spending levels on Medicaid or on SNAP or really any of our other welfare programs. And not only did Obamacare do that, it created whole new categories of people eligible for Medicaid, but it resulted in lower income workers who had private health insurance being dumped onto the public rolls of Medicaid. And those who are a little higher, many times higher income were dumped onto Obamacare exchanges. So private employers just dumped their employees' health insurance on the backs of the government, to the detriment of the taxpayers and to those employees who got dumped because of Obamacare. This is just an unholy cycle that's exploding out of control, and it's only a matter of time before we have a debt spiral that is going to really be devastating to our economy and to Americans' standard of living.
Congressman, speaking of the CR, Speaker Johnson said this week that as soon as the House comes back from recess, that he expects to put this measure on the floor. He said, quote, "It will probably pass early, but we've got some work to do." What type of work still needs to be done?
Yeah, well, that continuing resolution is a problem. It has some quote program anomalies, which means pork that the senators put in it, and then again, as I mentioned, a block on the Office of Management and Budget grant making rule that would allow agencies to block grants to DEI programs and to gender ideology programs. So the Senate version as is, I would have a very, very difficult time supporting. So I think I agree with, I haven't spoken directly to Speaker Johnson, but definitely that Senate continuing resolution needs work. Now remember, the House did pass before our August recess, we did pass a truly, quote, clean CR, a CR without any, without policy things, including policy things you and I would like to see in it, just to keep the government open until early December. I think the House CR is infinitely preferable to the Senate's, and so I agree that we do have work to do on that.
And before I let you go, it's August 21st. When are you guys due back in Washington?
Yeah, the 31st of August, so that last day of August.
All right. That is Dr. Bob Onder, Congressman, of course, for Missouri's 3rd District. You can reach him at onder.house.gov or an X, Bob Onder, M.O. Congressman, thank you as always for your time, and have a great weekend.
You too, Chris. Thank you.
All right, 443, Chris's Corner. AOC can run from Woke 1, but I've got the receipts, and we'll talk about that next on the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk, STL.
Like us on Facebook at News Talk STL. From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. More nice weather for the weekend, if anything, getting less humid and more comfortable. Overnight tonight, slight chance for a spot storm, mainly northeast of St. Louis. Most of us are dry, low of 71 degrees. A high of 87, that's near normal hot for the afternoon, but humidity will be falling throughout the day, so expect it to feel a little more comfortable. But it is toasty warm in the full sunshine, a mostly sunny day Saturday. Sunday, a little cooler, but still a warm day, 83. Mostly sunny to start, then turning partly cloudy, but low humidity, making it a great Sunday. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
On the next,
Larry Connors, USA.
The story behind the story, tradition, Friday Night Lights, high school football.
Larry Connors, USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Do you need someone or who can provide you expert insured tree care? I have the one-stop shop for you. That would be Hanson's Tree Service. My good friend Chad Hanson, been running this locally owned, independently owned, family-owned business for many decades. His awesome dad, Jeff, of course, the founder of Hanson's. Chad is definitely in his dad's spitting image for sure. The Hansons are great people. They're great Americans, and they have an awesome business that can take care of you. So if you have a homestead, if you have a little bungalow, if you got a McMansion, something in between, if you have a yard that has trees and you need help with those trees, they can take care of you. If you are a commercial, if you have a commercial facility or industrial facility, if you're the St. Louis Zoo, Chad Hanson can take care of you. Yeah, that huge tornado that blew through a couple years ago, they called Hanson's. They knew that Hanson's can handle it. And Hanson's is happy to do big jobs, but they're also very happy to do small jobs as well. They provide expert insured tree care for anyone and everyone in eastern Missouri and also now down at the Lake of the Ozarks. Yes, they can help you with your lake lot as well. If you need some grinding or land clearing or anything of that sort, Hanson's can take care of you. At hansonstree.com, you can order mulch online. You can apply for hassle-free estimates, 6 months, same as cash financing, make payments, and so much more. Chad Hanson and the gang at Hanson's are wonderful folks. They've got expert arborists on site that can help you if you're having some issues with trees, maybe like more on the disease or the bug front. They've got treatments for that as well. They can take trees down. They can put trees up. They can grind stumps. They can clear land. They can do so much more. Give Hanson's a call. No job too big or too small for them at Hanson's. That's hansonstree.com, hansonstree.com.
Tony Colombo here for All Solutions Pest Control, the team Christine and I trust to protect our home. We've used multiple services at multiple homes over the years, and I can tell you from all that experience, All Solutions is second to none. If you have a pest problem of any kind, or more importantly, just want to prevent a problem, All Solutions is the team to call. Learn more and take advantage of their incredible $67 introductory offer right now at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Is your portfolio prepared for the biggest risks facing investors today? Hi, it's Tim Jones. High inflation and a rapidly changing economy may impact your investments. If you haven't made appropriate changes, your portfolio may not be positioned to address some of the biggest risks in today's economy. That means it's time to request your free portfolio review from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. You can hear their latest views on the markets and investing during On the Money, hosted by Stifel financial advisors Bob Stockdale and Eric Robert, every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on News Talk STL 101.9. They can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create a portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free portfolio review, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com, 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas & Company, Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
This hour of Jones and Arps is brought to you by Stifel. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. Follow Chris Arps on Twitter at Chris_Arps.
I have a local city councilman that has this saying woke one was crazy.
I mean, did the movement go too far with some of those positions? I mean, you briefly supported the idea of defunding the police.
I think that, during lockdown, of course, rhetoric in that time is not rhetoric that we would use today.
Chris.
And if you don't know, now you know.
And now, Chris's Corner.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez appears to have discovered something conservatives and ordinary working Americans understood 6 years ago. The radical politics of 2020 were crazy. During a recent ABC interview, AOC dismissed the excesses of that period with 4 words: woke one was crazy. She partly blamed the atmosphere of the COVID pandemic and lockdowns. Apparently, America stayed inside so long that Democratic politicians temporarily forgot police protect neighborhoods, prisons hold dangerous criminals, and women menstruate, and national borders serve a purpose. But AOC wasn't merely an innocent bystander swept up in the insanity. She was one of its most influential salespeople. When New York City proposed cutting approximately $1 billion from the NYPD budget in 2020, AOC complained that it wasn't enough. Here is exactly what she said. Quote, defunding police means defunding police. It does not mean budget tricks or funny math. She continued, it does not mean moving school police officers from the NYPD budget to the Department of Education's budget so the exact same police remain in schools. And she concluded, the fight to defund policing continues. That wasn't an ambiguous statement. It wasn't taken out of context. She specifically rejected the idea that defund the police was merely a slogan for police reform. She said defunding meant defunding. Then, while campaigning for congressional candidate Nina Turner in 2021, AOC declared, I want to abolish our incarceration system that's designed to trap black and brown men. I want justice, I want peace, and I want prosperity. That's what I want. Again, there was no ambiguity. She didn't call for better prisons, fair sentencing, or improved rehabilitation. She said she wanted to abolish our incarceration system. Now AOC says she does not support Democratic Socialists of America proposals to abolish police and prisons, to fund the Department of Defense, or grant amnesty to every illegal immigrant. That sounds like a significant political conversion, but she hasn't explained what changed. Does she now believe police departments deserve adequate funding? Does she still support decriminalizing illegal border crossings? Does she regret saying marginalized communities sometimes have no choice but to riot? That's a quote. Were her previous beliefs wrong, or have they merely become inconvenient for a politician considering a presidential campaign? Those questions matter because this isn't just about vocabulary. Woke One affected actual policy. Police morale collapsed, recruiting suffered, crime became a defining concern in major cities, businesses and schools adopted ideological language that most Americans never embrace. AOC is a talented politician. Republicans would be foolish to underestimate her. She has enormous name recognition, an enthusiastic following, and the ability to communicate progressive economic arguments in language younger voters understand. And this pivot proves she understands her greatest vulnerability. Before she can sell herself to culturally moderate Democrats, particularly working class and Southern black voters, she must convince them that the radical AOC of 2020 no longer exists. But calling that period crazy isn't accountability, it is political repositioning. AOC may want voters to laugh off Woke One as strange pandemic fever dream. The problem is that we have the recordings, the quotations, and the receipts. And that is Chris's Corner. I ask you to follow me on X at Chris_Arps and on Facebook, Christopher Arps Politics.
They seem to be looking past the point that they were the crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like somebody else was being crazy or, oh, look at those people. Aren't they crazy? You were the crazy, AOC.
Yeah. And she
you
blames
and
she blames the pandemic. That's why all these crazy ideas came.
I think
it was
started
the pandemic.
Before that.
Exactly.
Oh, so the pandemic made her do it?
Yeah, it was the pandemic. You know, everybody was worried about their health. They're worried about this pandemic that's spreading across the world. Nobody knows what it is. There's no cure for it. And because of that, people just started saying all type of crazy things because out of fear. I think that's how she's trying to sell it.
That's why we want boys to play in girls' sports. Chris, I would love to put her on the witness stand and cross-examine her. It would be the most entertaining thing I think would ever do in my life because I love how she just – here's the problem. As you know, most people do not delve deeply into matters of public policy and politics. So – what she's hoping is for the low information voter, mainly on the center left side of the aisle, that they just hear, yeah, AOC said that was crazy. So we're not doing that anymore. Okay, we're fine now. You know?
I don't understand why Republicans and why some Democrats are excited about her. And this, may sound misogynistic of me of saying this, but I just view her as a complete airhead. And even though she has an economics degree and is in Congress, for me, she's an empty dress, and I don't see a lot of substance from her. She's got a long way. She's got 2 years to be credible when it comes to economics, when it comes to foreign policy. Do you remember earlier this year when she was over at some foreign policy summit over in Europe, and they asked her a question about South Korea or something? I can't remember what it was. And she sounded like a complete idiot. And at that time, people were like, oh, man, she can forget about being running for president of 2028 with that answer. She is not ready for prime time. Well, she's got 2 years until 2028. I still don't believe that she'll be ready for prime time because she's an empty dress.
She could fall flat like so many others have, right? And there have been people that largely the media, the fawning media, has decided on their own, this is the next big thing. This is the new shiny object. And we've seen it in both Republican and Democratic contests where that person that the media has uplifted falls completely flat. It happened with Kamala Harris. It happened with Jeb Bush on the Republican side. All these people that were supposed to be the next, they were going to walk into 1600 Pennsylvania. And I agree with you. And here's the thing I can't tell with AOC. Is it all a game or are we the ones that are being had? Is she playing dumb or is she dumb? Does she know exactly what's going on and she's just playing a part and we're the rubes? It's really hard to tell these days. I don't know.
I don't think she's the sharpest knife in the drawer. I think she's got a pretty face. She knows how to appeal to the Gen Z voters.
It's all slogans.
And I think she appeals to those type of people. Tim, this is not getting a lot of coverage because the House is out of recess. But we've had another Democrat plead the fifth this week. You hear about this?
Another one?
Yes. ActBlue co-founder Matt DeBargalis invoked the Fifth Amendment against self-incrimination multiple times yesterday during a closed-door deposition. The House Judiciary Oversight and Government Reform Committees are investigating Act Blue, and he pled the Fifth.
Did he beat Fauci?
No, I don't know. They don't have a direct number here. I don't know. I think Fauci's got the record at 111.
111?
Yeah.
That's an easy number to remember, too. Yeah, 111. Yeah, I love that some of this oversight is actually landing. It's landing, right? I mean, Fauci is an absolute disgrace now. Nobody believes him anymore. And one of his cohorts was hauled off in handcuffs the other day. So at least we're seeing some accountability, and hopefully the Republicans continue to remain in a position to do so. But we have a midterm we got to get past first.
And you're going to have AOC Part 2 at 5:06.
Yeah, they just cannot outrun the woke.
Then we'll speak with Nicole Huyer. She's a senior research associate of economics at Heritage. We're going to talk about capitalism and Gen Z. And at the end of the show, Joey's Movies, The End of Oak Street. You are listening to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hey, Colombo here for Intervine, a great local company that has customers all across the country due to the quality of their products. Intervine has the best flashlights, lanterns, headlamps, and even batteries, including the new Monster 2000 Lumen waterproof lantern and the Sentinel 2000 self-defense flashlight. Our home and vehicles are full of great Intervine products, and right now you can shop their website and get 25% off your entire purchase just by using my name, Tony, as your promo code. That's promo code Tony at Intervine.com.
Hey there, Chris Cooper here, your financial friend with Serene Wealth Management. You know, inflation, it's a real cost we can't control. We have to spend our money wisely, but not just today. We want to make sure we enjoy our lifestyle today in terms of tomorrow's dollars as well. So we have to budget for it. We have to understand how inflation impacts our lives. It's the conversation we're going to have this Sunday on the Serene Wealth Now show, right here, News Talk STL. Tune in Sunday morning, 9 a.m. We will see you there.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
Identity theft can cost more than you think. Drained investment accounts, stolen tax returns, lost wages, expenses for lawyers. It's a lot. That's why LifeLock is backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, which covers up to $1 million for stolen funds, fees, and experts and lawyers, and out-of-pocket expenses. Don't face the burden of identity theft alone. Protect your future and finances with LifeLock. Join now. Save up to 30% off your first year with promo code BECK at LifeLock.com. 1-800-LifeLock, promo code BECK. LifeLock.com. Terms to apply.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
KLDY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green.
This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at
newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. A hefty judgment against InfoWars founder Alex Jones has been reduced.
A Texas court has slashed a $50 million judgment to just $1.5 million against InfoWars founder Alex Jones over his false claims that the 2012 Sandy Hook school shooting in Connecticut was a hoax. The appeals court found that the parents of 6-year-old Jesse Lewis did not show evidence that the harassment inflamed by Jones's hoax claims rose to a level that would allow them to exceed the state's $750,000 cap on damages for each plaintiff. The ruling does not affect a $1.4 billion judgment against Jones in Connecticut. 20 children and 6 educators were killed in that attack. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
The Democratic National Committee rules out 2 of 5 cities on a short list to host the 2028 presidential convention.
Atlanta has not hosted the DNC convention since 1988, and it will not be hosting delegates in 2028. The DNC eliminating Atlanta and Chicago after leaders visiting 5 cities to check out logistics. Boston, Denver, and Philadelphia remain in the running. Republicans have already picked Houston, Texas for their 2028 convention. Laura Winters, Atlanta, Georgia.
The Supreme Court's Chief Justice is allowing the White House to continue construction on President Trump's $400 million White House ballroom project for now. Chief Justice John Roberts signed a temporary order on Friday letting work continue as the court considers an emergency appeal from Trump's Republican administration. On Wall Street, the Dow by 517 points. The Nasdaq rose 113, with the S&P 500 advancing by 33 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. More nice weather for the weekend, if anything, getting less humid and more comfortable. Overnight tonight, slight chance for a spot storm, mainly northeast of St. Louis. Most of us are dry, low of 71 degrees. A high of 87, that's near normal hot for the afternoon, but humidity will be falling throughout the day, so expect it to feel a little more comfortable. But it is toasty warm in the full sunshine, a mostly sunny day Saturday. Sunday, a little cooler, but still a warm day, 83. Mostly sunny to start, then turning partly cloudy, but low humidity, making it a great Sunday. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hey, it's Mike Ferguson. Mario's Donut Restaurant, that's your place to go for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. From mouth-watering sandwiches, omelets, delicious gyros, and Mexican dishes, to their revamped menu with cannolis, tiramisu, baklava, and danishes. And don't forget those famous donuts. Dine in or carry out, Mario's friendly staff is ready to serve you with love and care. Mention News Talk STL when you visit, or just visit mariosdonutrestaurant.com.
Susie Moore here for the team at Mattress Dogs. They're proud to be family-owned and operated. Thanks to customers just like you, they've grown from 1 store to 5 across the St. Louis area, each filled with the latest sleep technology and America's most trusted mattress brands. Right now, during the Labor Day sale, save thousands on Tempur-Pedic, Beautyrest Black, Sealy Posturepedic, King Coil, and more. Plus, save up to 70% off retail on select clearance mattresses while they last.
Visit any of the 5 Mattress Dogs locations or shop online today at mattressdogs.com. MattressDoggzzz.com. If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
Love the all-new News Talk STL app.
On my way to work in the morning.
Usually I'm in the car.
I listen on the app in my car every morning going to work.
Download the News Talk STL app and listen anytime, anywhere. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
The more you remove voting from Election Day, the more opportunity you're offering for people to commit fraud.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
I think the Democrats are so short-sighted in this tactic they have now. They just cheat at any cost to win elections.
Nobody stands up. These people are crazy. I'm telling you, they're crazy.
What are we doing wrong here? As a former leader in the House, I think you can put your finger on it. It's called leadership. We don't have it.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
For 4 years, the Democrats invited millions of illegal immigrants into this country to take over our communities and compete with us for jobs and housing. They let in murderers, they let in gang leaders, they let in fraudsters, and they let in drug traffickers, and they did so by the tens of thousands. And for months, we heard Democrats, including people like Sherrod Brown, people who pretend to be the friends of the workers in this facility, saying that they couldn't do anything to fix it, that we needed a new law, we needed a new statute, we needed Congress to pass a new regulation in order to fix Joe Biden's open border. But as we've learned over the past 18 months, it didn't require a new law to close down that border. It just required a new U.S. president.
That's Vice President J.D. Vance there in Ohio, stumping for John Husted against Sherrod Brown. And, yeah, that's one of those things right there that Democrats now claim. Well, I don't know who they are. The Democrats, DSA, some version of that. They say that was woke 1.0, and now we're all for safe and secure borders. Chris, why don't I believe them? I think they're just saying these things.
Because they're full of crap, and it is an election year. But once they get back in power, I think we'd see Joe Biden policies enforced once again. Tim, some news on immigration. Haiti, the first Haitians have been deported back to Haiti. And yesterday, Liberia has said that they will accept 1,200 illegal immigrants in this country and will take them over there. So Trump getting rid of them one at a time.
And the cats couldn't be happier. Remember the whole cat thing?
Yeah.
They're eating the cat. They're eating the dog. Welcome back to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. Look it up if you don't know what I'm talking about. That was a big thing about a year ago. Welcome back to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. It's Friday. That means we're having a little fun. We're bringing you some news, some analysis. We've got a full jam-packed hour here. We have some big events coming up around the bend as well I want to remind you about. And if you missed any of these details, don't worry. All the details are at newstalkstl.com. Every single detail about all of these events and so many others are at newstalkstl.com. September 19th, right around the bend, less than a month away. You can join us once again at the River City Casino for the annual St. Louis County Lincoln Reagan Day dinner. Keynote speaker, Newsmax personality Rob Carson. Keynote emceer, that would be Chris Arps. He is emceeing that event. It is a full night of fun, and if you ever wanted to meet like your state reps or your state senators or your congressmen, U.S. senators are often known to stop by as well. You can meet them there. Dinner and program, $75. That's a bargain in today's world. NewsTalkSTL.com for details. Renee Artman at hotmail.com. You can email Renee and ask for tickets and more information. Finally, Leadership for America dinner. 1 week later, that's on Friday night. Paul Kurtman, our good buddy, Paul put on these epic dinners back in the day. He had Dinesh D'Souza, Don Jr., Seth Dillon, Babylon B. He's got Nick Shirley coming to town. He'll be the keynote speaker for this event. Expect some other VIP speaking announcements as well. Nick is that independent journalist, a young gun who is exposing fraud in Minnesota and all across the country. And I even saw him overseas last week. He's going everywhere where waste, fraud, and abuse might be. All tickets, pricing, everything else. There's a lot of special stuff around this as well. You can go to the VIP reception and meet Nick personally. NewsTalkSTL.com. NewsTalkSTL.com for both of those great events in September.
And I was just going to mention regarding the Lincoln Days event, when those dinners fall during election years, those are the ones that are most exciting.
Yes. And this year, the dinner will be, 6 weeks before the November election. Mm-hmm. So I would expect you're going to see a lot of candidates and incumbents and folks like that. So if you ever wanted to, talk to your congressman or give your state rep an earful, you can come to the Lincoln Reagan Day event and tell them we sent you. Lots of great stuff coming around the bend. We've got Nicole. How do I pronounce her name, Joey? Mm-hmm. Huyer? We think it's Huyer. We're gonna confirm that. She's another great heritage person. We love our connection with the Heritage Foundation. We have guests that join us every week automatically, like Steve Bucci and Zach Smith. And then when we find interesting other topics like the economy, right, big topic this week, we're going to talk to Nicole about capitalism, the system that Gen Z loves to roast but actually needs the most. How about that? That rhymes.
That rhymes.
Chris, Gen Z is what generation again?
It says here they are 1995 to 2012.
Okay. 95.
That's about 31 to 14.
Okay.
14 to 31.
They're the next. They're kind of the next up and comers. So we've got the baby boomers, we've got Gen X, which we're in, and then we've got the millennials.
Yeah. Could you say that again? That you and I are in Gen X, not boomer generation.
Yeah, we're Gen X.
Because we get criticized like that.
You all like to make fun of how old we are, how short we are, whether we have hair or not. You know, Chris's hair isn't nice enough. Mine's too curly. I don't know. I mean, just the stuff that people say.
Yeah.
It's like, can you just debate us on what we're talking about versus stupid things like that, but that's what people do on social media, we've learned.
I think people forget when you're not in the public eye or doing what we do that you just have, and you have to have very thick skin, but they just think that because you're on radio or TV or whatever, that you have a target on your back and we can just take shots at you and get used to it. Like we're not human.
And yeah, exactly. And the things that really make me mad are the ones that are objectively not true. Like we are objectively, and here's the first thing. I don't know what the boomer insult is. I still haven't really figured that out.
I haven't either. That's the greatest generation.
Yeah, I mean,
almost
greatest, and then but the boomers are there's great people in that generation. They're not the ones that hate America for the most part. That's
the boomers built the prosperity of America after World War II. That generation.
Yeah, indeed. And so I don't even understand some of these insults because they're so ridiculous. But anyway, I diverge. We're going to talk to Nicole about what's up with what is Gen Z's economic outlook and where are they getting their information from? That'll be at 5:20. We'll discuss some other topics with Nicole as well. She's a senior research associate for economics at Heritage. She can talk about just about everything.
She's smart, though.
Yes, probably smarter than both of us combined. We're going to talk about all that and more at 5:25. And then the segment we've all been waiting for, Joey V's Movies. Joey, what are we talking about today? And is this going to be a big one that's going to make a lot of money?
I don't think they make them any bigger than dinosaurs. This is a dinosaur movie, The End of Oak Street, Anne Hathaway, Ewan McGregor. Talk about it at 5:45.
All right.
Joey, I saw a movie stat today. The Odyssey has now made the most money for any other movie for any R-rated movie in movie history.
Oh, yeah, really? Just past Deadpool and Wolverine, and I saw Ryan Reynolds congratulated them by, I don't know, posting some sort of weird sex scene with Matt Damon and him and Wolverine.
That's exactly what Ryan Reynolds would do.
Joey, is this normal? It seems like the hype for Odyssey died down rather quickly.
Did you see a commercial while you were watching Fox News or something? No, I don't know. I see that the tickets are sold out at IMAX proper theaters. So if there's an IMAX near you, those are always sold out, and that's how most people are waiting to see it for some reason. I would say just go see it.
So the buzz is
and then
continuing.
Go see it again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good. All right, so we've got Nicole coming up in the next segment, and then we've got the End of Oak Street and more. Let's get to today's Speaker Stump Speech.
Listen to me, listen to me.
I'm very consistent. I'm a very stable genius.
It's time for the Speaker's Stump Speech, sponsored by Hanson's Tree Service at hansonstree.com.
Yes or no, Congressman, do you think transgender athletes should be allowed to take part in girls' sports?
I think they should with a discussion about where we have issues of safety and fairness. And I think that that's something that Democrats should take on, not cede to Republicans. Because I've been proud to vote against all of these hateful Republican legislation. But we've not fought forward. We're not taking this on ourselves.
Yeah, so that's an example right there of how the woke, stupid left doesn't know where they are on simple issues of biology. So that was during a debate between Massachusetts Democrat Congressman Seth Moulton, who's now a candidate for U.S. Senate. He's taken on the older guy. I can't think of his name right now, in Massachusetts. They're having a big battle for a Senate primary, and they're basically trying to outwoke. Here's two white guys trying to outwoke one another, and the one is older than the other. And they just sound so ridiculous when they're talking about these things. And they're like defending, they're like proud of the fact, like one of them was like, yeah, I filed the Trans Kids Bill of Rights. And this is like some old guy. He's like in his 70s.
It's Ed Markey.
Ed Markey, yeah. Listening to Ed Markey and Seth Moulton try to outwoke each other, Chris, is hilarious. I mean, they look and sound really stupid. And you know who's calling them stupid? AOC. Not directly, but she's basically did Ed Markey not get the memo? Like AOC says, the leader of your party. I mean, it's either Mondami, Bernie Sanders, or it's either Mondami, Bernie Sanders, or AOC. Like maybe the three of them, the three musketeers. Those are the leaders of your party in sum and substance. And they're telling you, stop talking about this stuff. My eyes and my eyes were hurting and my ears were bleeding because I watched this whole clip. It went on. And I felt like I was on a different planet. And I'm thinking to myself, is this what Massachusetts is creating these days? Boston, the one of the original founding mother cities, right? You know, the home of John Adams, you know, and fighting the British and the Tea Party. And now their big debate is who stands up for trans kids more. What is wrong with us as a country? First of all, I'm sorry, and you can send all your hate mail to me, but there is no such thing as trans, okay? There's biology, and biology means you're either a male or a female. And I learned this at a very early age because my father is a practicing veterinarian, and so I learned a lot of biology, and I learned a lot of things about what you look at on the hindquarters of a certain animal, and you know how to look for certain things. And let me tell you, you only have two choices. You're either a male or a female. Now, you can play Mr. Potato Head with yourself or your kids, which I think is horrific. It reminds me of that other movie, The Island of Dr. Moreau, you know, where they were doing all the horrible experiments. Or maybe my favorite Alien movie, Alien Resurrection, where they're like crossbreeding the DNA of like Sigourney Weaver with the alien species. Okay, you can do all kinds of weird, antithetical sort of playing small g God for yourself and thinking that you're the smartest person on the planet. You can do all kinds of weird stuff. That doesn't change certain objective facts. Like there are boys and there are girls. There are males and there are females. They, unfortunately, in Massachusetts, have gotten so far off the deep end in this once great, mighty state that they now will spend a big chunk of a U.S. Senate primary debate trying one candidate, Seth Moulton, trying to out-trans the other one, Ed Markey. It was the most ridiculous thing I've ever watched. Okay, so shouldn't they be talking about, like, I don't know, the war or peace in the Middle East? Shouldn't they be talking about, I don't know, the $40 trillion debt line that we just crossed? Shouldn't they be talking about the fact that Medicaid, welfare spending in general, Social Security Trust Fund, all these things may go bankrupt in the next 10 years? All the things that you don't see Chris and I and Joey sitting around wasting your time on completely ridiculous things. We bring up the issues of the day that are serious, that are affecting you and your pocketbook and your family, and we talk about them. And oftentimes we try to present solutions. But this is where this party's gotten. Now, AOC and Mondami and Bernie Sanders, they are smart people. Well, I know we have a debate about whether AOC is really smart or not, but I think Mondami and Bernie Sanders, pretty smart guys, right? And they've got other smart people in that party too. They know that this stuff is not playing well anymore with most of America. Now, on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, at the cocktail parties and the elitist clubs, sure. I'm sure they love to sit around and fantasize about these 345 different genders. But for most Americans who are trying to like put food on the table and raise their kids and save money for college and maybe retire someday, these are issues that are absolutely and completely idiotic, and they shouldn't be discussed at all. And Bernie Sanders and Mondami and AOC, to their credit, and I don't give them a lot of credit for a lot of things, they know that things like open borders and how many rights we're going to give trans kids and whether we're going to have 6'5" dudes smashing the faces of girls in girls' sports, they know that those are no longer winners with the American people. How do we know that? Because we've had a series of elections, and those issues do not generally play well. They might play really well in a Democrat Socialist of America versus a liberal leftist primary, but when you get to the general, thank God most of the country has still not completely fallen off the deep end, and those are issues that people think are not only not important, they think they're absolutely ridiculous and insane. So the new woke 2.0 wants to steer you to things like affordability, and they want you to forget the fact that they created the affordability crisis. They want you to pay attention to things like the working class. The problem is most of the Democratic Socialists of America have hardly ever worked a day in their life. I think I saw a stat the other day where like 85% of them are white. Another big chunk of them are super college educated with degrees they can't use. And only 4% of them ever had what you would consider like a working class or a blue collar job. So you're talking about a bunch of really rich, really elitist, really privileged people who can afford to be Democratic Socialists of America because somebody else has paid for their bills all along. And meanwhile, guys like Moulton and Markey, who are focused on the trans kid issue, apparently haven't even gotten that memo. If I haven't convinced you yet that this is a party that has completely gone off the deep end, I don't know what else I need to tell you. With all of its warts and its problems and its issues, at least the Republican Party still cares about the country, wants America to do better, wants Americans to have a brighter and happier and more prosperous future before them, and they're definitely not trying to cut off your kids' body parts. And that's the Speaker's Stump Speech for today.
Got a question for you. Your dad, of course, is a long-term veterinarian. He's retired. You worked in your formative years alongside him, delivering calves and animals
Used
and
to
stuff.
take me to the clinic all the time, and I only fainted once.
Really? I'm curious, have you ever seen a hermaphrodite animal?
I have not. I bet my dad has.
Yeah.
I mean, you do have those statistical anomalies.
Yeah.
They do happen.
Just out of just curiosity. I'm like, I wonder if you guys ever saw
It's a great question.
an animal with both sexes.
I'm
being
sure
born.
Dad has. I'm sure Dad has. Sometimes, Chris, things get a little mixed up in the gene pool,
Yeah.
The coolest thing I ever got to do, and I don't know the whole story behind this, and I'm not sure my father ever figured it out either. Somebody was rolling through St. Louis, and for whatever reason, a young tiger cub got dropped off at the animal hospital out in Pacific in Franklin County. And, unless you have all the licenses and the paperwork and all that, it is illegal.
Oh, yeah.
To have,
Highly
illegal. So I'm not sure what happened to that little tiger cub, but I remember I was around that day. I don't remember. This might have been high school. This might have been in between college. I was there. I was with my dad for some reason, and I got to hold this tiger cub. And even though this little guy was a little guy, he flexed his paw at one point, and the claws came out.
Yeah.
And then he gave this little, it wasn't a meow. It was not a meow.
Right.
It was like this rumble,
Yeah.
and I'm like, holy cow, I'm holding a killing machine.
Yeah.
It's like, he looks really cute
Yeah,
now, but he's going to grow up to be a monster.
Maybe they just dropped him off to be declawed.
I don't know.
Keep him as a house cat.
I'm not sure if my dad had to make a phone call to somebody and be like, we've got a tiger cub here. But my dad was very good friends with the veterinarians at the zoo at the time, with the zoo directors. And so I don't know if they got a phone call after that or not. But that's one of the coolest things I remember was holding that little tiger cub back in the day.
Too bad it wasn't like during these times you'd have it on your phone.
I would. I'd be showing pictures. Hey, look what I got. Yeah. Hey, it is 5:24 in the p.m. We're going to move over to Nicole Huyer, we think. We're going to find out. We're going to try to figure out how to pronounce Nicole's name. Nicole, Huyer. Nicole Huyer, Senior Research Associate of Economics at the Heritage Foundation. Capitalism, the system that Gen Z loves to roast but actually needs the most. Next on Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show, 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. More nice weather for the weekend, if anything, getting less humid and more comfortable. Overnight tonight, slight chance for a spot storm, mainly northeast of St. Louis. Most of us are dry, low of 71 degrees. A high of 87, that's near normal hot for the afternoon, but humidity will be falling throughout the day, so expect it to feel a little more comfortable. But it is toasty warm in the full sunshine, a mostly sunny day Saturday. Sunday, a little cooler, but still a warm day, 83. Mostly sunny to start, then turning partly cloudy, but low humidity, making it a great Sunday. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
Hey everyone, it's Todd Showalter with my buddy Joey V. Be sure to join me and Joey for the Right Mind Show, where we put the fun in our dysfunctional world. Saturdays at 5, right here at 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hey, let me tell you about a place that I don't just endorse. I actually go there myself, and I have an appointment this Tuesday at the Dental Link. I'll be seeing my good friends Dr. Link and his son Andrew, who run the practice. Been going there about 5 years. I'm getting my annual 6-month checkup, and check on the dental implants, see how they are doing. You know, Dr. Link, it doesn't feel like one of those cold clinical offices when you go there. It feels like a place where people actually enjoy working there, and that matters. The staff, they're relaxed, they're professional, they're friendly, and that starts with how Dr. Link treats his team. You know, for me, this is personal. As I said, I have dental implants. That's not a small thing. That's serious dental work. And they walked me through the whole process, step by step, no pressure, no confusion, just straight answers and making sure I was comfortable the whole time. If you've been putting something like that off because you're nervous, I get it. But here's what you should know. They offer many dental implants, which are less invasive, quicker recovery, and a lot less discomfort than the traditional route. I'll tell you this, getting my implants done was a game changer. They look natural, they feel natural, and honestly, it gave me a level of confidence back I didn't even realize I was missing. If you've been thinking about maybe getting dental implants, or maybe it's been a while since you've been to the dentist, just go talk to them. The Dental Link is located in Baldwin, right there at 141 and Manchester. You can give them a call at 636-496-8584, or check them out at thedentallink.com, thedentallink.com. Do good, do it well, have fun doing it. That's their motto.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on Newstalk STL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Calling all Patriots. Join the St. Louis County Republicans for the annual Lincoln Reagan Day Dinner, Saturday, September 19th at River City Casino. Our keynote speaker, Newsmax personality, Rob Carson. Enjoy a full night of fun and information alongside state and local officials and candidates. It's an evening you won't want to miss. Dinner and program, just $75. For tickets, email Renee Artman at hotmail.com or call 314-398-6667.
Everyone deserves a safe place to call home. Cedar Oak in High Ridge is a unique ministry providing more than just shelter. They offer hope, support, and a compassionate community for individuals rebuilding their lives. Since 2023, they've helped those facing housing challenges, especially when addiction has been part of their journey. At Cedar Oak, you'll find personalized care, empowerment, and real long-term solutions. Take the next step. Visit cedaroak.org. Cedar Oak, where new beginnings take root.
Never paint again. This is Darren, owner of Rhino Shield. Want to eliminate painting your home, business, or church? Call the experts at Rhino Shield. Rhino Shield is a revolutionary ceramic wall coating to regular paint and vinyl. Perfect for aluminum, steel, unpainted brick, block, stucco, EIFS, drive-it, cement board, and wood sidings. Rhino Shield eliminates wasting time and money painting year after year. Our ceramic coating deflects 90% of the sun's UV rays and 100% of the moisture. Our clients want affordable protection with the elimination of maintenance. Rhino Shield protects your biggest investment while maintaining your architectural features and gives you the curb appeal you deserve. Make your home great again by working with the Rhino Shield experts. A+ rated with the BBB. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Jamie Allman here, tossing and turning over retirement worries. You're not alone. 3 out of 4 Americans share your concern about having enough saved. But here's the thing. A comfortable retirement isn't out of reach, even if you're planning for 30 or 40 years ahead. Every day, Jeff Portman from the Gemini Wealth Group helps people avoid the critical mistakes that can derail their retirement. Build your path to financial confidence. Visit GeminiWealthGroup.com or call Jeff directly at 314-888-0123.
Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor. Member FINRA, SIPC.
This app is absolutely fantastic.
Yes, I listen on my phone.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
It is awesome.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app and listen anytime, anywhere. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Democratic Socialists of America, they are growing, and the organization is trying to market itself to young voters that are out there. The political organization is ramping up recruitment with softball leagues, crafting clubs, happy hours. They call it cocktails with comrades. It might be working. DSA membership is up from about 5,000 15 years ago to 130,000 members today. 62% of Democrats would vote for a self-identified Democratic Socialist.
Yikes, what is going on? Let's talk to Nicole Huyer about all of that and more. She's a senior research associate of economics at the Heritage Foundation. She is at Nicole Huyer on Twitter X, heritage.org. Nicole, good afternoon. Welcome to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show here in St. Louis on News Talk STL.
Thanks so much for having me.
So, Nicole, what is going on with the younger generations, which I think you might be in? I don't exactly know where you fit in these groups, but what is appealing, especially to the younger generations, regarding socialism? What did they not learn in school, or have I answered my own question?
Yeah, I think you definitely answered your question there, where they're one, not learning about the horrors of socialism or communism. So you kind of have your liberal indoctrination kind of taking over the education system, where they're maybe not learning about the economy or about history, those types of things. So they're more inclined to vote for or support socialist candidates. I mean, it could also be what was it called? The cocktails and communists or something like that. So they're by any means necessary, they are trying to attract this younger generation as their voter base. But I think what they're doing is kind of this messaging tactic where they're willing to empathize with the younger generation a little bit more, in the sense that, the economy isn't perfect. There are some pain points there. I mean, things like grocery, gas, housing, things are expensive. And the socialists, they don't have the right economic policies for sure. If people actually knew about economics, they would realize that, the government grocery stores or rent control or higher taxes are just going to exacerbate the current problems. But the socialists are pretty good at messaging their point, and I guess hosting cocktail parties to attract the younger generation.
Mm-hmm.
Nicole, do you think the socialist beliefs are hardwired into the Gen Z brain through their indoctrination through school and high school? And once, they live under a socialist regime, maybe live in New York City and see that rent controls and government grocery stores don't work, that they could change their mind? Or will they be like their older liberals, where they'll just say they still believe in socialism, they just haven't had the right type yet?
Oh yeah, I've heard that many times. It's just, it hasn't been tried right. Like, we haven't seen all of these sorts of things that the socialists are promoting through their policies happen before. But that is an interesting point that, well, the younger generation, of course, never had to live under socialism or communism. And an interesting point is, people that flee from these socialist or communist countries and come to America, where you have free market capitalism, are actually the loudest proponents of capitalism and free markets and the American Constitution, for example, where I know people that have come to America from places like Venezuela or Cuba, and they're obviously opposed to the socialism and the government intervention within their countries. But then you have these younger individuals that are more inclined towards these socialist policies because they've been kind of marketed as, fair, or they're either going to promote equality or they're just more moral. But I mean, what's really moral about redistributionism, or, kind of stealing or taking from one person, whether that's property or income, to give to another? So I think it is an education problem where they don't know history. But I think deep down, a lot of people recognize that socialism, aka communism, not only does it not work, but it's not truly moral, because they take away things like private property, for example, and you have a lot of the Democratic Socialists of America nowadays saying that they, want to destroy the Constitution, things like that. So I think people can really see that, and deep down they know that that's not a good thing, obviously. But I think it's going to take a little bit of work for the conservatives to message our point a little bit better.
And Nicole, isn't it true that socialism fails fairly quickly, doesn't it? Margaret Thatcher famously said something along the lines of, yeah, it all sounds really great, socialism, until you run out of everybody else's money. I mean, Nicole, you look at the DSA platform that was just released the other day, and the price tag, if they get everything they, quote, want, is upwards of $200 trillion. I don't even know what that means. So it might work for like 30 seconds, but then no one's going to have anything to take from anyone anymore because it'll have already been taken and spent, right?
That's exactly right. I mean, looking at that number, I mean, $200 trillion to finance what their free groceries and free housing and free education, free everything. Nothing is truly free. And I think that's the point that a lot of young individuals are maybe missing. And socialists are trying to convince them that, hey, the government is just going to pay for everything. Everything's going to be great. But like you said, that Margaret Thatcher quote, at the end of the day, well, nothing is free, and eventually socialists run out of money when they lose their tax base. Then what do? But I mean, all of these policies we know throughout history, they don't work, and they're just big budget busters. So we really have to convince the younger generation that, this is not the way. Because obviously, with the new debt number in the news being 40 trillion, could you imagine now having to spend $200 trillion? I mean, how much are we adding to the debt there? So we need, I think, a little bit better education in terms of economic policy for sure.
Nicole, could the rise in popularity among Generation Z be because they're kind of living under socialism? And what I mean by that, now we see reports of 30 and 35-year-olds living in their basements, their parents taking care of them. They can stay on their parents' medical insurance till they're 26 years old. They've taken out loans for school that they probably can't pay back, and they're not really realizing, this is money that's borrowed. I got it pretty easy. You think living under that kind of de facto socialism makes them want to accept it because they are now?
I think that's a good point that you bring up, where if you don't have any kind of fiscal accountability yourself, you're maybe more inclined to think that this should be, national policy. If you're maybe not paying for your own education, or you're just living with your parents for your entire life, maybe you'd be more inclined to be a socialist, I suppose. But if you are actually responsible for, your own spending and kind of living on your own, you probably turn to free market capitalism. And that's sort of the thing where, once you get your first paycheck or you look to start a family, you're no longer a socialist, you're no longer a progressive, but then you turn to capitalism because you realize the economic policies that conservatives hold are actually the ones that make America more prosperous.
Yeah.
Speaking to Nicole Huyer, she is a senior research associate of economics at the Heritage Foundation. And Nicole, what about all of the really important kind of ancillary effects of a socialist or communist society? It's not just the pure economics, but also we would lose a lot of other things as the great nation we are, right? Like we would lose our drive for ingenuity, research and development. All of these things have to be funded by something, right? All the fancy stuff that we love, that we walk around with, the iPhones and the Androids, and we have a pretty we do have poverty in America still. I don't want to downplay that, but I think when you put us up against any other nation, our cost of living is higher by a lot. So we would be losing, not just the pure economic, from a pure economical standpoint, but so many of the other things that make America the great nation that it is, right? Those will all be gone.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I mean, when you think about the level of poverty, for example, in America, if you're comparing that on a global scale, what we consider poverty here is actually in the top 10% of living standards in the entire world, for example. But then going back to ingenuity and kind of innovation and the things that we're able to create by having this more capitalist system, I mean, I'd raise you, what has really been innovated or come out of socialist or communist countries? When the government is in control of everything, the private sector isn't able to thrive, whereas under capitalism, where you have free markets, you have property rights, you have a strong rule of law, in markets that are able to compete with one another, they are able to create things. It's driven innovation, it's driven efficiency and technological revolutions, and really everything that we, have today is a positive outcome from living in a capitalist society where you had people that were willing to be risk takers and create things. And they were, of course, able to profit from what they created, but it's driven societal progress, and it's made living standards across the board in America go up.
That is Nicole Huyer. She is Senior Research Associate of Economics at the Heritage Foundation. We've been talking about capitalism, the system Gen Z loves to roast but actually needs the most, the rise of socialism in America. Nicole, we're going to definitely be monitoring this because it seems like this is just beginning. Hopefully we can turn the tide on it. But thank you for all the work that you're doing at Heritage to try to educate people about, how money actually works.
Of course. Yeah. Thank you for having me on, Nicole, to talk about it.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
I tell you, Tim, two things that cemented me as a capitalist. 21 years old, newly minted part-time supervisor at UPS.
Yes.
Got paid once a month.
Yes.
Saw all of those taxes being taken out at one time. A few months later, getting my Christmas bonus, realizing that your bonuses are taxed at 40%. Didn't matter what tax bracket you were in. That cemented it for me.
Indeed. And that's when, if people could act, Chris, if people
21.
If people would actually look at those paycheck stubs,
yeah.
Whoever designed this system had to be a socialist or communist, where you don't really see anything and you don't see what comes out and all that. If everybody actually had to look at that and sign it every week, we would be a much more free market society.
Yeah, if everybody got paid once a month, it would really, you'd really notice how many taxes are taken out of your check.
Indeed. And, the other point is all these little socialists running around, Chris, do you think they want to get rid of their cell phones and all the creature comforts we have in America, all the things that were created by a free market system? You're not going to have those advancements anymore. You're going to have to give all that stuff up.
Well, everyone should have a cell phone. We'll just take money from the billionaires and give everyone a free phone because that's what's fair.
When you spend everybody's money in America, then where are you going to go? Where are you going to go after that? 5:43 in the PM. We've got Joey V's movies coming up next. The End of Oak Street, big summer blockbuster with a twist. Joey V is going to tell us all about that. And how many toasted raviolis will he give it? You got to stand by and listen because that is up next on the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, driving the leftist crazy all afternoon. From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. More nice weather for the weekend, if anything, getting less humid and more comfortable. Overnight tonight, slight chance for a spot storm, mainly northeast of St. Louis. Most of us are dry, low of 71 degrees. A high of 87, that's near normal hot for the afternoon, but humidity will be falling throughout the day, so expect it to feel a little more comfortable. But it is toasty warm in the full sunshine, a mostly sunny day Saturday. Sunday, a little cooler, but still a warm day, 83. Mostly sunny to start, then turning partly cloudy, but low humidity, making it a great Sunday. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
When you count on Connor, you're getting the timeless American values that have guided our company from day one. Hard work, impeccable service, and honesty. Connor Roofing, you aren't just getting a roof, you're getting safeguarded by a neighbor who cares. When you count on Connor, you're receiving protection for your home, your family, and your peace of mind.
Visit ConnorRoofing.com.
Hey, it's Vic. If you have a tree that you think is dead, you can get Roots Plus to remove it for you. Or if you think the tree is savable, or if Roots Plus thinks it's savable, they can save your tree and you keep your cash. Call them and find out what that's all about at 314-440-3662. The crews are great. They get things done. They removed the tree for me, and they did expert work, and I definitely will put my name on their company. So save the tree with Roots Plus LLC. RootsPlusLLC.com.
The Laborers International Union of North America, Local 110, was formed in 1933 and from the beginning has strived for progress and the well-being of others. The laborers of Local 110 are hardworking men and women who take pride in their great work. They are the fastest growing union of construction workers and one of the most effective unions representing plants and quarries. Laborers Local 110 has the best medical benefits, pension, education, and heavy construction training in the market. Visit LU110.com and start your future today.
Looking for unbelievable deals? Stop by Overstock Outlet in Lake St. Louis or Warrenton. Open 7 days a week. Discover big savings on a huge variety of merchandise with no hassle. Just great prices. Visit us in Lake St. Louis on Highway N or in Warrenton on Boones Lake. Check out our Facebook page at Overstock Outlet Lake St. Louis or go online to overstockoutletstl.com. Unbeatable value, friendly service, and you never know what we'll have at Overstock Outlet.
You're listening to Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
Did anybody else see that weird light last night?
I think that our neighborhood, our house, our whole street has moved.
How the hell is that even possible?
Get out of there! Run! What the hell's going on? Get inside now! I just heard a gunshot! I don't need you to worry for me, 'cause I'm all right.
5:47 on the Tim Jones and Chris Arps show. I've got goosebumps from hearing that trailer. That's the trailer for The End of Oak Street. And let's see what Joey thinks of it.
Joey, baby, what movie are you playing?
Brought to you by Harry J's Steakhouse, Freddy's Market, AAA Motor Speedway, and Best Buy Flooring.
And I want to welcome Becky Arps to the
Yes.
studio. She's filling in for Tim. Thank you so much, Becky. I've got your microphone on in case anything crazy comes to mind. You're allowed to say it. I don't mind.
I'm excited.
The End of Oak Street is about an entire neighborhood being transported back to prehistoric times after a mysterious cosmic event. It's set in 1982, and our main characters are a family of 4 and their dog. Ewan McGregor and Anne Hathaway are the parents of a teenage boy and teenage girl. And this is Anne Hathaway's 4th movie
Wow.
of 5 this year. She did The Devil Wears Prada 2. She did Mother Mary, The Odyssey, this one. And then in October, she's got another one, Verity, which I think is a chick lit book. This Colleen Hoover. She's been making a lot of money.
Does she have major roles in all 4 of these movies?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I mean, she's
okay.
like one of the key people in The Devil Wears Prada.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
The Devil Wears Prada too.
So I don't know if she's like terminally ill, like Chadwick Boseman was. He was making a lot of movies and then he was just gone. Or I know she dated a guy who did wire fraud, stole millions of dollars back in 2008. So maybe she's feeling guilty and or got involved in that and has to pay everyone back. I don't know why she needs to be so greedy with the box office. I'm not thinking that she's going to get nominated more than once. That is something that happens every so often. Scarlett Johansson did it in 2000, where you get nominated twice in the same year for different movies. I think The Odyssey is the only chance that she has, but I haven't seen Verity yet, so we'll see. And The End of Oak Street, it is the definition of a fun action summer blockbuster. $85 million budget, angry dinosaurs, and time travel. And this is a love letter to Spielberg. If you've seen any Spielberg movie or anything that he's even touched, it is probably in this. You got Jurassic Park, you got kids from E.T. discovering stuff, you got Gremlins, Poltergeist, where there's something wrong with the neighborhood, and Goonies, where you've got other kids. So it's like Amblin is the production company that Spielberg has, so that's what people have been saying. This is like a love letter to Amblin. And I see that, but it didn't bother me because those movies are great. They're a lot of fun. So why not throw them all together? I know, Chris, earlier this week, you said, this sounds like Stranger Things.
It does. Look, Stranger Things was set in 1984, 1985. You've got a monster in it. You got a monster in this. It just seems eerily similar to me.
Did you guys end up finishing Stranger Things?
Becky
I only watched
watched it. I
season
didn't.
1.
I have finished it.
You finished it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think I have.
Yeah, I think that the 80s is the most recycled decade
Yes.
of pop culture ever, and it's just never going to stop. All the kids these days, they're not creating their new pop culture. They're just recycling the old stuff. I don't know if it's because they're just watching old videos on their phone all the time and they're not actually creating stuff.
Why do you think the 80s? I mean, are the 90s too recent and 80s is far enough where you can have some nostalgia. Why do you think the 80s is getting so much attention?
I know the neon and the synth music is really catchy, and I like that stuff as well. But I don't know beyond that. I think people who lived in the 80s didn't really love it that much. It's always
we
been
love the 80s.
You did? Okay.
Best time to be alive were the 80s.
Crack was real cheap back then. And
I
don't know anything about
They're
that.
catering to the people that have the money.
Yeah.
And at this point in time, Generation X is in their top earning years and starting to face retirement. And
Yeah, that
so
could be it. Yeah.
Our kids have gone off to college, and now we have time.
I think we cracked it. That's a
Yeah.
good theory.
Yeah, we need her every Friday.
I'm going to give you a few recommendations
All right.
if you plan on going to see The End of Oak Street. Don't watch the trailers. They give everything away.
Really?
It's incredible how much they give away. The favorite scenes in this movie, I said, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. And then I watched a trailer and I said, why are you spoiling that for people? Go see it with a crowd. I saw it with a very crowded theater. And those insane scenes, it just made everyone erupt. People were laughing. They were yelling. They were saying, what the hell?
Was it a black theater?
No, I saw it at the Alamo Draft House, so I don't really know what race that would be. It does seem like it's more of a theater snob type of theater.
Okay.
Where's that at?
Alamo Draft House is in Midtown next to the IKEA, and they have a very strict rule. If you make any noise, they'll kick you out. And so I do appreciate that. It's a well-behaved, crowded theater. Sometimes you don't get both of those things together. And I would say the most important thing is be prepared to laugh. Even the serious moments in this movie, I think, are played for levity. Even the dark stuff, it is dark humor. I saw a lot of people complaining online saying, I don't know about the tone of this movie. I think it's just funny the whole way through. And they're very strategic the way that they reveal these dinosaurs. You'll see a tail go into the woods.
Okay.
You'll see some stegosaurus spine come up over the rooftops.
It's like the Jaws effect.
You'll see a shadow of something digging through the dumpster. And then chaos will break out, and there's blood in the streets everywhere. And so I loved how funny and dark it was at the same time. There's another movie I'm going to compare it to you need to check out. It's called Tammy and the T-Rex, and it's awful, but in a good way.
Sounds like a Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah, you got to see the R-rated version of Tammy and the T-Rex. It kind of reminded me of this movie. And don't let the PG-13 rating fool you. This is gory. It is violent. They say the F word in a very strategic way, and there's a hardcore sex scene between dinosaurs.
Oh, tell me that. No, you're joking.
You get to see it, man. They're just going
Come
at
on.
it.
Are you serious?
Some people think that's too silly. I thought it was wonderful the way they
that's
played it
sick.
up.
I don't. Who wants to see dinosaurs making love? That's
I
sick.
do. And these dinosaurs have feathers, so you know it's scientifically accurate, all the body parts that they show you.
Dinosaurs have feathers?
Yeah, the ones that we know from Jurassic Park, they didn't really have the science to know what they would look like, but then they looked at the bones and they said, these bones are pretty light. I bet they were more chicken flavor dinosaurs.
Joey, let me ask you. You have watched a lot of movies. You watch movies every single day. Have you ever watched a movie where they showed animals having sex and it wasn't like a documentary or something? It's part of the storyline?
Oh,
This
yeah.
has to be a first.
I got a subscription. There's a special channel on Netflix. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just joking.
I'm serious. I mean, is that just doesn't seem very common.
That's why this movie's so special.
Okay, all right.
And this is a survival adventure. So there's going to be the family working together, but they're going to make stupid decisions sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't mind that. I found that also very funny. I'm seeing a lot of complaints like, oh, that little kid, he's so stupid. He doesn't know how to use his bow and arrow. He keeps missing. I laughed. That's just my kind of flavor. I want to also let you know that one side effect was seeing this neighborhood plop down in the middle of this prehistoric jungle. It made me want to do yard work. Because I saw all this overgrown brush in the middle of this suburban neighborhood, and I said, that looks awful. And I have the shared fence between me and my neighbor. It's starting to grow trees and vines. This morning, I jumped the fence, and I took my saw, and I started cutting down my neighbor's trees. I know that can be highly illegal, but this guy, I promise you, he won't care. These are like weeds that were growing out of concrete.
Well, if you're looking for, you need to get that out some more. Let me know.
If you got some trees I can cut down?
We got a little.
Call me up. I got a side business going on.
You know
Forget
what
Chad Hansen. No, I'm just kidding. He's way better.
You know what I'm thinking about with this movie because it appeals to people that grew up in the 80s, set in the 80s. My formative years were in the 70s. It reminds me a little of Land of the Lost. Remember
Yeah,
that
of course.
Cartoon?
I've only seen clips of that, but I know exactly what you're talking about. A family
Sleep
getting
Stacks.
taken.
Great show.
That's like HR Puffin stuff type of technology there, where they
I
were
had
in
an HR Puffin stuff
don't get him
lunchbox
started on
or
HR Puffin
a
stuff.
Halloween mask. I had an HR Puffin stuff
get him
Halloween
started
mask
on
back
that.
in the day.
The
Now we should be
CGI
watching it.
in this is really, really good.
Oh,
you know everyone's acting with tennis balls, but they carry the weight. You know, you feel the weight of the dinosaurs. You feel the emotion that the actors are putting forth. I was convinced the entire time that this was actually happening, and in
Okay.
a silly sort of way. And so you're also going to know that there's just 80s things that you don't see anymore. I got a little nostalgic.
Yeah.
I saw the basketball hoop mounted to the garage.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody does that anymore.
No, you're right. No one does that anymore.
You got the kid who's got the bedroom on the second floor, and they climb out onto the roof, and they just
Yeah.
lay there
Yeah.
and look at the stars. You got the doghouse that's outside, where the dog sleeps outside. No one lets their dog sleep outside anymore.
I never had dogs.
It just made me nostalgic for, I grew up in 1985, but it did make me a little nostalgic.
You were right about the basketball goal. No one does put it on their house anymore.
I give it 4 out of 5 toasted
Wow.
raviolis. You got to see the end of Oak Street. It cost $85 million. It's made 65 so far, but hopefully my good word of mouth will encourage more people to go see it.
4 out of 5. That's incredible. And you
open
didn't?
this
Did you
week or
cry?
last?
It opened up last Friday,
Okay.
and I went to half price movie day at the Alamo Drafthouse. So it was only $7. So I always recommend that. Go on a Tuesday when it's real cheap.
Is this good for Anne Hathaway's career to be in 4 and 5 movies? What about overexposure?
I think it's great because she is a bankable star, and she's proven it.
All right, that is the review for the end of Oak Street. Joey gives it 4.5 stars. Go see it. Excellent. All right, Larry Connor's USA is up next. Friday Night Lights and high school football. You have been listening to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL. Drive safe and have a great weekend. Go to the movies.
For over 50 years, Freddy's Market has been Webster Grove's family tradition on Big Bend, serving up what matters most: quality you can taste and prices you can trust. Stop in today for our ready-to-eat burgers and hot dogs, fresh daily sandwiches, made-from-scratch deli salads, and our famous store-smoked meats. Whether you're grabbing lunch or planning dinner, we've got you covered with that hometown flavor you've loved for decades.